So throughout the conversation, I'm gonna share the link so people can either see, and if they don't see now, then they can see in the future.
Sure.
So throughout the conversation, I'm gonna share the link so people. Okay, there we go. All right, and then I'm gonna record. Where's the record thing? Record on this cloud. Okay. All right. Once again, it's a pleasure to see you again, bro. Um, and welcome to our international audience. This is the Global Black Forum episode number 5. We are joined today by a very, very, very good man and somebody who I had the pleasure of meeting about 2 years ago in Geneva during my time at the first session of the Permanent Forum of People of African Descent, Mr. Peter Kuel, who is a international activist and president of South Sudan International Advocacy for Human Rights. A very, very busy man. In the past, Kuel has led protests against the regime of Juba, South Sudan, for those who are aware of the situation, and the distinction between Sudan and South Sudan, or how South Sudan became a nation about 13 years ago in the events prior. He has been led protest again against the 2013 genocide against the Nuer people, which can be considered either ethnic cleansing and even a massacre. Again, as the nation was established in 2011, shortly after, 2 years later, upwards of 20,000 civilians were unlawfully murdered, and rest in peace to the families and victims. Um, he has also led protests in the nation's capital of America, Washington, D.C., and at the United Nations headquarters in New York City, as well as embassies of Kenya, Uganda, and Egypt for their involvement in the South Sudan Civil War. Kuel also serves as the president of the Drivers Union in Seattle, which represents 40,000 drivers statewide, approximately 40,000 drivers statewide, and is a currently delegate of the United Nations Permanent Forum for People of African Descent. So once again, welcome, bro, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you. It's nice meeting you in Geneva, and it's good to see you again. I'm so delighted to meet you. Thank you.
No, likewise. Again, that's definitely reciprocal for all the work that you do. You know, we've had, I would say, many of conversations just about your work, and then the importance of this work in human rights advocacy just for the entire African diaspora. So again, it's definitely an honor to meet a spirit and a brother like yourself. As one of my good friends told me, you know, she says she's just happy that we're walking in the same direction. So I would say again, it's a privilege and honor to be walking in the direction as you. So I wanted to discuss again, I know you're in Tanzania right now, so I don't want to take up too much of your time because of the difference. But I want to have, an in-depth discussion. So the first thing I wanted to ask you is, which part of South Sudan are you originally from? And if you take as long as you would like, please discuss your childhood and adolescence and your thoughts about the nation you grew up in.
I am from, thank you. Thank you. I'm from Unity State, Bantu.
Mm-hmm.
Unity State is in the Western African region, and grew born and raised up there in Unity State. I spent most half of my teenage years in South Sudan in Unity State. And half of it I spent it in Sudan, in North Sudan, in Khartoum. South Sudan actually is the largest country in Africa, but not anymore right now after the division of the country, that we have North and we have South, we have Sudan and we have South Sudan. Sudan has been in a war for a long time. I think beginning in right away after the independence, 1956. The war began 1958. Continue. Then they have a peace. 1972 was signed in Addis Ababa. And 4 years later, 1972, that peace was dishonored. So it was not there anymore. So people began, to rebel. In 1983, they formed a big global movement. It's called Sudan People Liberation Movement, or Sudan People Liberation Army. That become a military force. That military force fought Sudan for all these years, from 83 maybe until 2005, when they make a deal of having a referendum. Either we have two countries or having one country that will be the share of the people. So 2005 is signed a deal, and in 2011, our country was divided into two countries. We have Sudan and us. People of South Sudan, 98% vote for separation. So we become two countries. Right away, in 2013, struggle began. War began in December 15, 2013, where thousands of people lost life in Juba. People were killed door to door. Where people were targeted. And people began going to refugee camp in all the cities, especially in Juba, also in Malakal, and in Wau, in Bor, in Bantu, in all the cities, near run for their life, because they were targeted based on their tribes, based on their internet. That's how South Sudan got into this war. And until now, we have no solution to that war. Peace was signed, many of them were signed, but dishonored. 2016 was having a peace, and 2018 was having a peace. Both of these are dishonored by the regime in Cuba. Thank you.
No, thank you for shedding light. So I have many questions, but I'm gonna try to focus on, I guess we could say, stick to the script, or the questions in the order that, I sent you there. I have some other questions about the history, which you alluded to and discussed. So with that, with I guess we could say the political developments throughout the last let's say 5 to 6 decades, which have led to, again, the establishment of the nation of South Sudan, which I believe, again, is the youngest African nation as far as, again, chartering and constitutionalism and the establishment of a state or nation state. How did you get involved in human rights activism and advocacy, again, stemming from your, upbringing and to now your adulthood?
Well, I got involved because in my area, in United States, before the war began, 2011, there were people who rebelled against the government because the way they treating people was not a good one. Those people rebel. When they rebel, the whole area of my region is Mayam County, where I was born. The government sent an army. When they sent an army, They burned all the houses. They were killing people. And I have an uncle. His name is Wisharbi Singh. Wisharbi Singh was an older man. He was burned in his house together with the cow that he has inside the house. So, and many things were looted, a lot of rape, a lot of displacement, and a lot of killing. Then we South Sudanese diaspora, what should we do about this? Because there is no point where government should go and kill people because someone in your area involved. That means everybody in the area, including women and children involved. There is no point. What should we do about it? As a group, we say, well, let us form organization that can fight, you know, and give awareness to the public, in South Sudan, also globally. And that was 2011. So, and then we decided to have an organization. We have the board members, we have the chair president. I was elected to be a president of that organization, and many fellows were among the members. That was the reaction to what had happened in April. I think it was April 23rd, 2011, in Miami area. So, and then we published our first paper, and that gave a lot of reaction globally. So that's how I involved. And then from that time, I never quit. I just keep on. Me and my team, we keep on fighting. Whenever we see something, we publish our paper for awareness. Something that target women, target children, target youth, target girl, and also civilian and elderly. So we put anything happen, we put our presence out, you know, for the awareness, for the world to know what's going on in the country. So that's how I involved into the human rights. So and then came 2013, and that is how we deeply involved, maybe 4 or 3 times a year we go do a rally in DC or New York, or 4 or 5. So we go to New York, we do a protest. We go to the DC, we do a protest. That's how I involved into the human rights.
Thank you for sharing. So again, I have other follow-up questions, but I'm gonna try to, stick to the script. One, thank you again for not stopping. One thing that I would say I noticed, this is any nation that has been, in my opinion, affected by the global capitalist system in a unique way. But African states are uniquely impacted by global capitalism. As you said, in terms of raising awareness, just speaking from an American standpoint, obviously me being a African American, but nonetheless an American, the role of the media is important because most people get their information from whatever source of media that they trust. And a lot of forms of media, nowadays, because of, in a post-Trump administration, there's talk about misinformation and disinformation. But long before, Trump was president of this country, certain propaganda was created to misinform and disinform people. So I say that to go back to the situation in the history of South Sudan. You have some Africans and specifically South Sudanese people who are in America, but they're more or less quiet, or they're I'm not gonna blame them, but at some level I think that they're complicit because they don't speak out against the current leaders of South Sudan, the former leaders of different factions who, worked against the people. Um, and they get, incentivized by what I would say is the US government and other businesses and stuff like that. So I say all of that to say, discussing the role of South Sudan International Advocacy for Human Rights and considering its founding, I believe, in the 21st century, um, and the actions of current and past leaders of Sudan and South Sudan. How have the advocacy efforts been? Have you received a lot of support? Have you, and this, again, you can answer this in a way from specifically considering South Sudanese people or just the larger diaspora and a larger international community. Again, have you received support? Have you received any pushback? Has anybody told you to, keep quiet or you shouldn't be saying these things? Um, how pretty much how has it been going?
Well, thank you, Juan. Um, there is a pushback in the community, especially the South Sudanese community, those who are associated with the Southern government. There is pushback on them that you are destroying the country, you are doing this, you are doing this. I told them, look, our people, they are dying in your hands, and that you don't offer no solution to it. No solution, nothing. Then how can we be quiet when everybody dies? At the end of the day, all of us will go. Will die one day at a time. You know, so enough. What we had in Sudan, the war of Sudan, that began at the get-go when we got a country, a war based on religion, Muslim and Christian, and also political and economic. So that was enough. And then again, now we are in our own country. How come we be killing ourselves? How can we fight for the freedom of our people? And how come our people will be targeted based on ethnic? We fought because we were marginalized in the north. Then now we are in the south. Then how come this become worse than the way we were before? It's unfortunate. Well, my answer to the point that you made about some people are so quiet, some people, they don't say. There is two things on that. Either you fear of replication of what you say, or you are on the side of the government. Because if you are on the side of government, you cannot talk about it. And there are a lot of people that also fear that something may happen to me if I began talking about the issue of South Sudan. Or maybe I will not be allowed to go to the South Sudan. All these things are there, preventing people to figure out, you know. And I see it like, that they say that, the silence of good people is a problem. There are a lot of good people there. They see what happens. They know what happens. Even their relatives have gone that way, and still they keep them quiet. You know. Yeah. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. You froze for one
Okay.
second, but I can hear you.
Okay. Um, um, just 1 second. Uh, Okay. Sorry, my data want to stop me, then I try to catch up with them.
No, no problem.
Yeah. So I'm getting go back again to the question.
So you answered like I think you said you had 2 points, but you definitely answered it. As far as again just the silence of people. As you were talking, I was thinking about they say there's the saying it's attributed to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So again, me speaking from again an American standpoint, and as somebody who it might be hard for people to believe this, but no matter where you have whether it's civil war, whether it's even political disagreement, and especially when lives are lost, um, I feel that we all lose, especially people of the diaspora. So because of in my understanding or my estimation, because of the adverse effects of colonialism and they now have all of these borders in Africa. So these are imposed borders, more or less. Stemming back from the conference of Berlin, um, and we had former colonial nations deciding when and how um, African states would be developed. Um, and I say that to say again, whenever atrocities happen in South Sudan, I think we're all affected. And when I say we all lose, I mean we lose spiritually, we lose morally, we lose emotionally, and there shouldn't really be an economic argument for it because people, again, in my opinion, these things are always motivated by resources, and somebody's you mentioned the deals, referendum. We have these political terminologies for them, but at the end of the day, just like how Nigeria was established as a business deal, most of these developments are business deals where you have outsiders trying to get access to resources that are in South Sudan, that are in Sudan, that are in East Africa, and those deals lead to, again, what we would consider ethnic clashes or genocide, because again, you have leaders. These leaders are supported by American governments, supported by the French government, supported by the British government, supported by all of these outside governments. And then again, you have African people dying. So again, like I said, I just want to raise and uplift the work that you do because again, it's very important. Not to say again that you're going against those governments. That's not even the point, but more so again, like the fact that so many people are quiet and again, you and your organization and your members and supporters continually raise your voices is again an invaluable thing. You could respond to that, or the next question I have for you is pretty much how can the international community and how can, not to ask more of people who are enduring so much, but how can South Sudanese citizens support uh, South Sudan international advocacy for human rights? And again, how can the international community, individuals like myself, other people who may be concerned and aware, how can they support you?
Thank you, Dikwan. We have a lot, to ask international community support. This country called South Sudan did not get it independent because only South Sudanese fought for it and they got it. No, it was because the support that we got internationally, especially the US, the Troika country like Norway, and other countries in Europe supporting us during the time. And at the same time, if we got in trouble, those people should not isolate our case that they did what they done and whatever happening now is just for South Sudanese. I don't think that would be the right answer. All the people who are supporting us should come and rescue the country. Because it was just support that we got that country. We don't get it on our own. We got because the America was in there, the other country globally supporting us. We should rescue our people. Right now, as we speak, we have a lot of refugees. We have a refugee in Sudan, we have a refugee in Egypt, we have a refugee in Kenya, we have a refugee in Uganda, we have a refugee in Congo, maybe over maybe 2 million, over 2 million or 3 million. These are refugees. They are there. They cannot go back because of the fear. They will lie that there was a peace that was signed in 2018 that should be implemented, never implemented. And now they are facing a lot of challenge, especially the food. There is no food in those camps that they should eat. Medical issue. There is no medical for them in case somebody gets sick. Plus also because of being jobless for the last 10 years, simple thing that should be discussed, people don't discuss it. They just go and fight because frustration is stress. Imagine you sit home for the last 10 years, you don't have no job, you don't have nothing, no school, nothing. What comes to your mind? It's just simple thing that can be handled. You don't handle it, you just go fight. Okay, leave alone these people in a refugee camp. Go to the Cuba. We have still a POC, displaced, IDP, displaced, internal displaced people in Cuba, South Sudan as we speak. And we say we have peace in 2018. Those people are still there. You go to WOW, you find the same people. You go to Bantu, you find the same people. You go to Malakal, same people. You go to Bor, same people. Thousands of people are still internally displaced. They're still there. They got no job for the last 10 years. Imagine what go to your mind if you think about somebody who is sitting there. They scared coming out because they know the peace deal was not there. And people who are outside also, there's some, journalists, human rights activists, and humanitarian workers that get threatened. They run away from country. So they cannot go out. They cannot go out. They run to a neighboring country. So generally, some for last 7 years, 8 years, and 2 years, some are in prison right now. I can share with you some names that I have here. So for how long will our people stay in that concentration camp? Because it's a concentration camp, having people in the camp inside the country afraid to come out is a concentration camp. It's psychological damaging, mentally damaging, because you are there for the last 10 years, 2013 to today. It's a big problem. So all those things, we need the world to help us pressure the government to implement what they signed. Should not ignore it. This is what we need the world to look into. We can't have our people inside, leave alone the refugee in other countries. The people inside the country that are still a refugee, displaced people. And now they're saying we need election by the end of the year. How will you do election when we have people in the camp? Are you going to campaign in the camp telling them what? Telling them, come on, vote for me? While you are in a camp? How those are going to run there? No.
It's a great question.
Yeah, this is unbecoming. How will you do election? You don't have no sunset. You don't have all the people are in the refugee. How are you going to do? You are not allowing all those political parties to, to run or to campaign. How will you do? What are you doing? All these things don't make sense. So the challenge facing our people is huge. If you go to Facebook every day, you have to say rest in peace, rest in peace. This and so and so died, so and so died, so and so died. every day. We get tired going to Facebook and try to rest in peace because it's too much. You know, yesterday we have issue in Abia where a lot of people killing themselves, tribals try, you know, and every corner of the country, that killing is there. At the meantime, I want to go to the refugee issue also. Those refugee people, like I said earlier, because of frustration, they began killing themselves within the camp too, because of you don't have way to solve things. So life is hopeless, it's useless, it has no meaning, you know. And also some of them are arrested in the host country, are in prison. And we say we have like 32 people, teenagers, age 14, 60% of them 14 to 19, 6% of them are teenagers. But 32 people were raised on June 22nd, they are now in Ethiopia, are in prison. That they kill something which has no evidence too. They kill someone. If you kill somebody, then not all of you involved into killing people. It may be one person. Then why you arrested all these teenagers for 7 years? I'm not against them. Ethiopia are helping us for a long time, since beginning of our struggle in 1984. But it is unfortunate that we have like 32 teenagers in prison. 60% of them are teenagers. We have also in Ethiopia, in Kenya, people are taken back to South Sudan to be prosecuted, to be executed. In Kenya, something like that happened. We have 2 guys that were executed. We have a lot of people. So Kenya get used to that, I think. Violating the law of the international community, which to protect the refugees in your country, returning our people to South Sudan is horrible. We have activities that were taken back and executed. And people are still taking them up to now. So there is a lot of things international community should do to help, having a peace in the country. They should pressure. They should, they should implement what, they help South Sudan rebel and government to sign, to implement what they sign, not just leave it for them. It's up to them. That is not a good way. Especially America. America should help a lot. But for all these advocacy we do, we say things, we tell to Congress, we tell to diplomat, we tell to everybody. But none, there is nothing working. Sanction was done, yes, but that is not enough. Sanction for some African leaders, it is nothing for them. They don't care about it. They should do more, to pressure South Sudan to come to the table to agreement and implement all the agreement they have made. And also we have the issue of the oil in Afrinal, in Unity State, in Afrinal State. The oil company are devastating our people. Children are born with no hand, no arm, very deformed. The water that killing everybody, causing a problem. Because they just dig it and throw the oil on the ground and water came when the rain season came. The water will go anywhere. And people bring those water. Because we don't have no sanitation, we don't have nothing. Just go to the river and get water and bring them. All these oil are destroyed our people. Destroy our animal, destroy our people, destroy our grass, all the crop. They destroy anything and nobody do anything. They are not helping the people that they land have oil. All these companies need to be accountable for what they are doing. There should be accountable for them so that they don't just do. They have to do a research. They have to go to the recommendation of people in the area, not on their own, and destroy it totally, completely. In Bentiu, it's awful. And in return they are giving nothing, zero. They say they give them like maybe 5% or something, but it's not getting to them. All the money go to the war. All the money go to the politician, bribing other people. They can advocate for them. This is a big problem with the oil company. You know,
No, this is
their petroleum, GPOC, DPOC, SPOC, GPOC, NALFED, Federanas, Sonafex, China, International Petroleum Corporation. All these companies are working in South Sudan. They are offering nothing to the people, to the citizens that live in that area. No hospital, there is no school, there is no healthy water. The only thing they do is damaging the society, damaging the community, and it is natural environment. This is adding to what happened, adding to the war. This is too much for us. You know.
no, thank you again for shedding that light. So I was just doing a little bit of research while you were speaking, and because some questions were going through my mind. So I see that South Sudan's, like you said, oil is and petroleum is, the pretty much the top export. Um, and it's the cornerstone of the economy. And it's, makes up to 40% of the GDP. But I was also looking at the trade partners and seeing that. So Kenya obviously is close, but not surprisingly, the EU and China are top trade partners for South Sudan. So to me, again, these things are always connected to the money, um, and how things, flow because it is a global political economy. Um, so obviously, again, being a landlocked country, people again, outsiders, as I would say, foreigners, um, nation states, again, I'm not trying to paint them in a bad light, but for lack of better words, again, you have, I believe, what is it, between 26 to 29 countries in the EU. Let me make sure, number of nations in the EU. 27, excuse me, 27 countries in the EU. So again, all of Europe to me is benefiting from the conflict in South Sudan. Like that's to me, it needs to be explicitly said. Now, excuse me, every European nation isn't in the EU, but again, of the 27 nations, that is important. And then I see what's also, to me, this is what I would call, a scheme, or technology, but so the UN classifies South Sudan as a quote unquote beneficiary of the European Union's everything but arms, plan or scheme for least developed countries. And I don't mean, I'm not saying this, laughingly, but it says supposedly South Sudan has not made use of its preferential access to the European Union market in recent years. And again, I will wonder why. Myself being a researcher, my dissertation research is focused on South Africa. So South Africa supposedly being the first country on the continent to experience independence, even though again it was led by the minority white citizens. And then South Sudan being the most recent nation state in Africa to experience independence. You have similar forms of, one could say, corruption or mismanagement on part of the government. because again, although democracy is installed, that democracy is, again, like I said, if I'm being explicit, it just benefits, it doesn't benefit Africans. It benefits non-Africans. It benefits other people. And again, that's just, my 2 cents on the situation. Um, so I say that, I guess, kind of before we conclude with our concluding questions, um, my paradigm is an Africanist, who's inclined to support marginalized communities, especially and policies, especially or communities that are disenfranchised by public policies. Um, and I believe, again, since the establishment of democracy in Africa, it's more or less been the same. You have nations that have nominal power, but you have so many outsiders, or it, to me, if one would ask the question, did South Sudanese citizens develop their constitution, and did they apply their form of traditional, um, from all of the ethnic groups, traditional leadership, traditional governance, to develop the current political system? To me, the answer would obviously be no, because again, it's imposed from the global political economy, or it's imposed from, former colonizers of Sudan and the like, or in Kenya and the like, in Uganda and the like, again, which happens to be the British. So I wanted to know, in your opinion, could this be, reduced to simply an outsider's perspective? Um, and I just wanted to know your thoughts on the design of political systems and democracy in South Sudan and across the continent. Is it merely stage play, like you said, where these political leaders are benefiting? They take money in their pocket, they commit heinous acts, um, and they stop anybody from speaking out. Um, or do you believe, again, that leaders have, colonized mindsets, and they're serving the interest of, former colonial masters?
South Sudan came out of Sudan. Sudan came out of the United Kingdom, independent. We are still having those two historical background, political background, like the UK and the Sudan. Sudan has two political background. One is a one that came from the UK, and also they have the Arab uh, political system that was added. Because people of North Sudan claim that they are Arab. So those two traditions are there. So Sudan, we have constitution that was written in 2005 that was temporal, supposed to be changed, but that change didn't happen. And that constitution is the one that stays until today as we speak. All 600 MP in a tiny country, or maybe 15 million or less, there is no constitution. It's changed. That is permanently to be a constitution of a country. What we had was the temporary one that was used when we divide the country. That's supposed to be amended after that, but that amendment did not happen. And that is what we are using till today. Having a 600 MP is something that unbelievable. The US have 430, 35 members of Congress. And then the tiny country with 15 million, I think 600 is unbelievable. Having 5 vice presidents is also, it's amazing. It's something that you can see anywhere. It's just only in social. The corruption, like we say earlier, is beyond thinking. So it's tragedy. And that's why we have a lot of this every day because of that corruption. That's why we began having a war because of corruption. Imagine if 20,000 killed, let's say 200 people was killed by the governor in Maryland where we live. Let's say like that. Will that governor still be a governor? 200, leave alone 20,000. Will that person will still be a governor? No, there is no way that governor that killed people based on Senate will stay. He killed only 200. Okay, let's say 20 people. he will not be the governor. But somebody that killed 20,000, plus the other people that die for different issues. He's still a president today. People go and bow for him. He's a good man. Then good man that killed 20,000, I doubt that. Or that killed more than that. You cannot be president when you kill your own people. Let's say from 2005 to today, that how many years? How many presidents of America gone between that time? Bush, Obama, and then Donald Trump, then Biden. 5 presidents, you know, and the world is saying, oh, everything is okay. That is unbelievable. You know, there is no accountability. You know, everybody does what they want, carry on their duty. Nobody questioning. Everybody keep quiet because if I say something happen, if I say something, maybe my relative will something happen. Imagine somebody that killed people. It would be better having those two political leaders out of the situation to have somebody else come and help our people. You know, and the world is still supporting
Like,
because what happened in 2013, the world knows. Americans were there. They're watching with their own eyes when people were killed. American embassies were there. They talk about it openly too, that they see people were killed in front of them. And until now, Salva Kiir is still there. I don't know sometimes, you know, about the world, how they see him. I can't believe it.
no, I think that just to jump in, that is again another very good question, and it's many different answers. I'm not trying to pretend to be somebody who has, like all the answers or that there's even one answer because I believe, multiple things can be true at the same time. But from my brain, my small, tiny brain and understanding, it's a lot of distractions. And these distractions are promoted, again, propagated. And then as I go back to, as you just said, with the multi presidents from the US, there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation. So the way that they frame things, when things was happening in Darfur, in Darfur, or when things again, like you said, were happening in Juba, these things don't make the news. They talk about it in a way where it's just Africans killing each other again, and this is what we should expect of Africans, and similar to the framing of what happens in Haiti, um, and anywhere like that is pretty much again a black-led nation. It's just like, oh, like you said, the leaders that are actually, killing their own people, they get framed in a positive light. The leaders that are killing refugees or denying refugees or destroying people and nations through policy, because that's what they call it. Pretty much, these are blockades, economic blockades. And again, that's also an advent of the European system, and they use these things to, again, like you said, this pretty you didn't say this, but this is what I would say in terms of paraphrasing. They disenfranchise refugees and current citizens, and they'll focus on, like you're saying, oh, they need an election. They need an election. They need an election. They have a democracy. So because of the way that majority white nations and white-led nations, operate, they say, oh, this is why Africa needs to do this. And then when things go awry, or when things happen, they say it's the incompetence. It's the incompetence of the Black or African mind and person and all of these other things that are really based on racialism and pseudoscience and inferiority and superiority complexes. So that's again my long-winded answer, like you said, to what people get caught up in. They get caught up in a distraction. They get caught up in a celebrity. They get caught up in the misinformation and disinformation from the news because our leaders aren't even telling the truth. Um, so I say that just again to get to our concluding questions. Most importantly, I wanted to know as we just discussed, again, like people may even watch this and say, oh, it's so many negative things happening, I can't do anything, or how could I help? Or they may feel, like their hands are tied. I just wanted to kind of flip the script a little bit. When people think about a lot of nations, particularly the underdeveloped ones or the ones that are experiencing conflict, they always cite, you know, government mismanagement, crime, deaths, and things like that. Even among these things, the resilience and the spirit of South Sudanese people is to me remarkable. Using yourself as an example, and then especially the people who are currently still based in the nation. I wanted to know your opinion on the importance of and the role of women and youth. Not to leave out men, but I just wanted to focus on women and youth and uplift them and their, again, like I said, their resiliency and their resolve. Because to me, the last will always be first. For those people that are religious, um, and to me, that their ingenuity, and again, like I said, their resilience can't be overlooked. And if you give somebody an opportunity, me speaking from my experience in American poverty, and urban poverty, uh, people always accomplish more with less. Some people, believe you need all of the resources in the world. Some people believe you need all of the education in the world, but you don't need any of that. You just need to have a committed mind, heart, and the faith to believe. So again, I just wanted to know if you could just shed light on, your opinion about the women and youth in South Sudan, and even the refugees, and even the people, again, like yourself, who are currently, abroad. When we were in New York, I remember you introduced me to one of your friends. I believe, again, she's also South Sudanese. Correct me if I'm wrong, but again, somebody who also has a very powerful spirit. So I just wanted to know if you could just speak about the importance of women and youth.
Yeah, South Sudanese youth are very resilient. I can tell you this strongly. You can't imagine people who've been there for the last 10 years with no job and nothing in their hand. They just live by the will of God that I can get something to eat tomorrow. Those people are very resilient. And people of South Sudan are hard workers. They are welcoming people. They are good people. But they need a support from the other part of the world. Our women are our heroes. They did a lot in our country. During the war with Sudan, they were the one providing our food, providing the food to the rebels. They were the one carrying the food. They were the one carrying the ammunition. If the soldiers are going to war, they collect them and care the things. They are one taking care of our kids. Now they grow old and they are now in another situation. They need help, and they help. I will recommend the world to do is to help bring peace in the country. Help bring peace in South Sudan. Our people are hard working. We don't need help anywhere. We are farmers. We grew up in a farm. We own our own cattle. We don't need anything from anybody. The only thing that we need you or the world is to help bring peace in the country so that people have a security. You know, if people have security are able to go and work and nothing happened to them, then there is no problem. We good. But people within the country are afraid. If I go to work, somebody with a gun will come and kill me. I'm done. Because everybody has a gun in the country. There's no security. Because the president has nothing except the title, I'm a president. That is it. From 2005 to today, how many years? You can say 19 years. I know the year just started. 19 years. For the refugee, I think we need the world, to give them better life, give them some food to eat, and also give them some education, and and some health, medication that will help reduce the pressure they have. For the general problem, South Sudan need to be, need to be accountable. Can you imagine people from August last year up to now, they didn't receive their salary, people in the country. From August last year up to today, this day, they didn't receive the salary. And guess how much is the salary? It's like $10, $20 a month. And from August up to now, they didn't receive that. What is that? We have oil working 24/7, generated $1 million. Where are those money goes? People need to be accountable. People who kill our people need to be accountable. I raised this issue during my speech in a permanent forum of African descent that there should be a way African leaders should be persecuted. Because African leaders rejected ICC, they say it belongs to the white people. Meanwhile, they don't have no alternative to solve that problem. I think I would recommend permanent forum of African descent need to work on that. That there should be a way to prosecute African leaders. We can't leave them like that. Meanwhile, they don't have no alternative of their own way. They don't have no other way to solve the problem. And here they complain, oh, this is what, okay, this belongs to white, the ICC belongs to the white, that's fine. What is your alternative? What is your other way? To prosecute the leaders who kill the people, the leaders who did harmful to the society, the leaders that corrupt the country. What is our alternative? I think I recommend that to the permanent forum African descent before, and I would love to see that up because you cannot kill people or do a bad thing to the people hoping that you just go free. That is not good. And in order also for all initiatives that African Permanent Forum African descent are doing, if they don't do this thing, those things will not work. Because the whole problem is here in Africa. It's not what is happening there. The world will not listen to you if the African is not well organized, well furnished. You have to study here and go and demand all the demand there in the world.
Mm. No, again, well said. Well said. So as we conclude, the final question I have for you is something again that you mentioned. This may happen, it may not happen, and I don't want to assume that I know your answer, but just thinking about how things have been going. Should there be elections or should there not be elections? I guess whenever they take place, what do you expect to happen in the next elections in South Sudan? And do you think democracy has been successful in the young nation?
Well, they are talking about election. That is the way they want to try to see how people are reacting to what. It's not because that is what they want, but based on my knowledge, my analysis that I've seen, is that they want to see how people react to that. And then they use that, and they use that response from the public. For me, there will be no election. The only thing that is going there is to extend the lead presidencies for another 5 years or 2 years or whatever. That is the only thing will happen. There is no way they will do election. There is no census. We have a refugee, we have an IDP, we have this. And who is going to vote in a country? One tribe? No. The whole world, the whole country is outside the country. We have a thousand in Sudan, Sudan, stuck stranded in Sudan. They have no way to come. Nobody helping them to come back to the country. How will you make those people vote for you when you leave them like that? You don't bring them. You don't welcome them home. And we have the oil working 27. Where do this oil money go? When you don't help the people, you don't help people in the camp. You don't help the people who stranded in war. I know they run because for their life before. They run to Sudan. because South Sudan was in war. But now they get another. You should welcome them. You should bring them. Those are intended should be brought back to South Sudan. But there is no way. No way. It's not because they don't see it. They see it, but they don't want it because they consider them the enemies, right? Because they went there. Why? They are the enemies. It's good for them that they die that way. Who care? They don't care. Because if they care, they will say something, one thing on the TV, oh, our people come from Khartoum, we offer you this and that. Nothing. Our people in the refugee camp somewhere, we can offer you this and this. You know. So all going on is just manipulation, 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 working with the rest of the world, you know, supporting them and they get a free ride, unquestionable. So I would love the accountability part to be one of important and the peace also. Because if no security in the country, we will suffer more. I grew up in a war, born in 70s. I get the war was there when I was born. I grew up now. I'm almost 50. So I'm in the war. The war is still there. Although I live in America, I over my head because all everything in South Sudan come to be every day. This is happening. The mind is not free. It's full of things. It's stress and all those things. And even what you mean, you can't have money because everybody is suffering. You have to distribute this little, that little, that little, and you end up nothing. You have all the stress that you got from South Sudan shifted to you in America. You
Mm.
can settle there too. You know, you can settle there. And I would love American people to help the same way they did when we were fighting with the North Sudan.
Mhm.
We need South Sudan to be a free country. And I hope one day, one time, South Sudan will be the best country among the best in the world.
Mm.
It's just a matter of time. I'm very confident. We will work there. Our youth, our young people, our ladies will work so hard to bring South Sudan to be the loving country, not the begging country like people have begged.
Right.
We are not begging. We are not lazy. We are hardworking.
No,
You know,
not,
you can find people with three, 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 3,000 cattle. If you sell 3,000 cattle or 10,000 cattle, how much money you would have? It's a lot of money.
right.
You know, you own our land. We never get anything. You know, um, South Sudan will be one day will be okay. We will work to the best. But we won't do it ourselves alone. We will do it with people like you. Thank you, brother. I indeed feel appreciate this.
No.
And there are people of goodwill also in America and around the world that will intend to bring peace in South Sudan. The
Mm.
only thing that we need in our country is peace, and having a peace is better, so that we don't go grow all in the war,
Mhm.
We lost so many people. I have my niece in the war of Sudan was killed with these 3 kids was
Mm.
born in the house in Sudan because they ran there during the war and Sudan, war of Sudan got them there, they were killed. Boom, all 3 kids, 4 years old, 3 years old, and 1 year old, they all gone. And the mom, imagine, terrific, terrible.
Condolences. Just you
Yeah.
mentioned the again on a positive light, like you said, South Sudanese and South Sudan is not beggars. And again, I don't know how many times I have to say it or you do or other people do, but again, distractions are abundant. And to me, I think you just painted a pretty clear picture about what's going on. Um, again, from the refugees to the internally displaced people to the current leadership, historically, again, like you said, you grew up in a war still going on. Even though, like I said, people in other nations, namely the EU, are getting their interests met. Um, but those who care, I think it's again, like I said, it's clear. So once again, I just want to thank you for everything that you do. And we will have this conversation again as I get better, as I learn more, about technology and different formats, and I learn and get better with editing. I'm gonna, use this conversation to be able to, promote this as far and wide as possible. And I consider this, this is a form of public education. And I think again, for those who want to learn, I think you just shed a lot of light. A lot was just taught. I think you connected a lot of dots. Um, and yeah, again, I'm gonna keep going, bro. We're gonna keep stay locked in, be connected. Hopefully I see you soon at the third session. And again, even beyond the permanent forum, like I'm one of the people that believes, we shouldn't over rely on institutions that could do more in and of themselves. So it's always going to be us. Like you said, it's going to be the people. It's going to be the people that want to make the change, the youth, the people going through it that are going to lead the future. So once again, thank you. And I will talk to you soon after this offline. So we're going to conclude now for our international audience.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, no,
Absolutely appreciate it.
thank
Thank you.
thank you, bro. Again, like I said, the pleasure is mine. Or the privilege and the honor is mine, excuse me. And yeah, I'm gonna stop.